All right, guys. So the Liberal View has responded to the Biden Doocy SOB controversy, in which Biden was caught on hot mic, basically telling Peter Doocy what he actually thinks of him. Right? He thinks that Peter Doocy is a son of a biscuit eater. Right after Doocy asked a question about inflation, that, in my opinion, was a fair question. Right now, again, the Liberal View has reacted to this, and as you can expect, they're defending their daddy, Joe Biden, right? They're defending Joe Biden. And in this exchange, this clip that we're going to talk about here, they actually shut down any dissenting opinions of Biden, any criticism of him for actually saying that comment after these are the same people that complained about civility in politics when Trump was in office. So we're going to break down that clip here, as it clearly shows that these women do not like dissenting opinions. They do not like criticism of their daddy. Okay, but before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to become a patron on Patreon, or to donate via PayPal, or to check out the merch. Again, I'm mentioning this because we have faced some recent censorship from YouTube. So hey, I just want to say that if you want to support what I'm doing, then the links are in the description for you to do that. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this clip of the View shutting down any criticism of their dear leader. Take a look.
But I don't know. Don't you think he should apologize? I think he should apologize to the American people.
No, I don't think he should apologize to the Americans.
Why
did Trump apologize?
No,
for calling Kim Acosta a rude, terrible person.
No,
Abby Phillips questions are stupid, etc.
Even Cecilia Vega, he said you never think.
But I think what Leisha's saying is because it's wrong. It doesn't mean you should double down on it.
I was a poor example to Doocy on the phone, but I just think he should acknowledge that he was a poor example for...
Well, but no, I'm sorry. Yeah. He should acknowledge he's human, because that happens sometimes when people ask you endless stupid questions from one particular place, and sometimes you just lose it for a second. The difference is, he said, okay, let me call him and apologize, because that happens. And I think that, for me, is the representation of what a human being as president should be.
An adult.
Yes.
And also,
an adult.
I hear you, Whoopi.
It points out the difference between Biden and Trump. Yeah. Because Trump, let us not forget, said that the press is the enemy of the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Even Chris Wallace acknowledged that in 2019. He said, I believe that President Trump is engaged in the most direct, sustained assault on freedom of the press in our history. So, okay, so he's, the stupid SOB, he says. It's nothing compared to what Trump said or did.
I agree with you, but we can't keep comparing him.
Yes, you can.
To Trump.
I think you're right about that. I think we can't keep
and really, it's not like Doocy. I mean, it wasn't. There are stupid questions, but he was asking about inflation, which is a real issue, and the midterm elections, which are right around the corner.
Again,
it's not like he was asking about something conspiratorial.
It was a sarcastic question, though, right, Lisa? I mean, he's like, will that be a liability? Of course it's a liability. And he also asked
Listen, he's smart enough to know.
The country to the left.
That's what he wanted. He got what he wanted. He asked a question that wasn't worthy of him asking it.
True, but also the president's smart enough to know that he's standing in front of a lot of people with a microphone.
That's why he didn't do it in front of everybody.
All right, guys. So you notice how the four women that are typically on the show go out of their way to shut down their guest, right? The woman that's not typically on the show, the Asian lady, Lisa Ling, I think that's what her name is, right? I mean, this woman just suggests, hey, maybe Biden should apologize to the American people. No. Biden should not apologize, right? Because Trump is bad, right? That's literally what they're saying. Biden should not apologize because Trump is bad, right? That was the whole argument. Now, here's the thing. I love how they have now twisted this whole thing away from, well, Biden is supposed to be the uniter in chief, right? He's supposed to be less controversial and less divisive than Trump. That's what he ran on. His comments in and of themselves are divisive and basically the same thing that the liberal media accuses Trump of doing, right? So the conversation isn't about that anymore. It's about, well, it was a stupid question, right? Which basically is a way to justify what Biden said. And it's like, no, it was not a stupid question. If I recall correctly here, Biden said, hey, I don't want questions on Ukraine and Russia and all this other stuff. So therefore, you got to ask me other questions. And Peter Doocy asked him another question, a question about inflation, in which he said, I think, does he think that inflation is going to be a liability come the midterms? Now, people are saying that's a stupid question. I'm like, no, it's not a stupid question, because there's plenty of answers that Biden could have gave. He could say, I'm not quite sure. The feds, hopefully, they can help rein in inflation. If inflation has improved by the time midterms come around, maybe it'll be a strength. Maybe it'll show that, hey, we're putting in the work to lower prices for the American people to get things back to normal. There's all types of answers he could have gave to that question, right? So in my opinion, it wasn't a stupid question. It was a legitimate question. However, it was a hard question. It was a question about his failures as an administration. But see, when you ask Biden about his failures as administration, these people take it as an insult because, again, that's their daddy, right? That's their dear leader, and dear leader can't be criticized, right? Dear leader can't be criticized, okay? And they want to give Biden credit for apologizing. I'm like, well, he only apologized because he got caught. He didn't apologize because he takes back what he said or he didn't meant what he said. He meant what he said. He's literally only apologizing because he got caught. So honestly, I would rather Biden not apologize, right? Because we all know what he actually is. He's a senile old man, and he's been that way basically ever since he's been in politics. Biden is the exact same person that the liberal media claims Trump was, okay? And I love how Joy Behar brings up the fact that Trump said that the press was the enemy of the people. And I'm like, okay, first and foremost, when the press, or aka the media, is in collusion with one political party to distort reality and truth, then yeah, I would argue that the press and the mainstream media are the enemies of the people. Yes, I actually would agree with that, okay? Because that's currently what's happening. The government, specifically one party, the Democrats, and the mainstream liberal media are all colluding, along with big tech, to shut down dissenting opinions and to censor people. Yes, that makes you an enemy of the people when you do that. So I will agree with Trump's comments. Were Trump's comments worse than that letter from the FBI and the National School Board Association basically characterizing parents as domestic terrorists, right? Something that Biden signed off on. Okay, his administration signed off on that. I think that's a lot worse. I think calling parents domestic terrorists is a lot worse than going after the press for basically pushing fake news. Okay? I think that's a whole lot worse. I think calling your own people Confederates, basically traitors to the country, just because they don't agree with you politically, is worse than that. Trump attacked the press. Biden has attacked the people. So if you want to have this conversation about off the wall stuff that people have said, whether that's Trump or Biden, yeah, we got that conversation, because Biden says stuff like that all the time, right? Biden's been caught multiple times on hot mic in the past few weeks, basically saying, oh, that's a stupid question, saying what he really thinks about these reporters, saying all the things that we all know he really thinks, but the Democrats pretend like he doesn't think those things, or he doesn't say those things, because they want to act like they're more civil when they're not, right? Again, these are the same group of people that freaked out about Let's Go Brandon. But now they're trying to defend this guy calling a reporter an SOB. And then they want to act like they're above it all, right? We're above Trump, right? We don't stoop that low in politics. When you do stoop that low, right? You do stoop that low. You were stooping this low before Trump came along, right? Just like they were pushing election conspiracies before Trump came along, right? The Democrats were doing all the stuff that they complain about Republicans doing today. They was doing it beforehand. But they want to get mad when they get a little taste of their own medicine. That's all it is. So, hey, this exchange right here kind of highlights why The View is having issues getting a conservative woman to come on the show. Because essentially you have to align with them 100% on your opinions, or segments like that are going to happen. Where, this lady can't even talk. She can't even get out her opinion. She can't even say anything because these people are literally trying to shut her down, right? Any criticism of Biden instantly shut down, right? It's kind of crazy, man. Like, why even go on the show if you're not even going to be able to talk? You're not going to be able to express your opinion without, these people talking over you and, berating you and all this other stuff. So, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.